Gathland to Dahlgren Winter Day Hike, Maryland. This is part of the Cornucopia Tour. The hike is from Gathland State Park to Dahlgren Backpacking Campground in Maryland. It is 8.38 miles and takes 4 hours and 9 minutes to complete. Here is a view from 6 miles east of that trail section. This is the War Correspondence Memorial at Gathland State Park. This is where I begin this section hike. I dropped my car off at the Dahlgren Backpacking Campground parking lot. Then I was shuttled to the Gathland State Park to start the hike. Because this hike started at the bottom of a gap, the only way to go on this trail now is up. The Crampton Gap shelter is just minutes away. I can hear several people at this location, and I see a bunch of tents. I'm not sure what this safety zone sign means. Perhaps it has something to do with hunting. There is the shelter. A hiker I met on the trail said she saw a bear one early November morning of 2022. She said that when she saw it, she used her voice to make it very obvious that she was there, and the bear slowly went away. Here is the bear pole for hanging food away from the bear's reach. There is a small boardwalk that goes over an intermittent stream and over to the privy. I can see part of a mouse nest sticking out from the left side of the guest book holder. There was no room for me to put an entry in the guest book. They will need a new one. Now back to the trail. There is a long rocky outcrop on the eastern side of the ridge, and it looks like it spans most of the ridge length. This is very similar to the outcrop I saw on the Weaverton to Ed Garvey shelter hike I completed recently. This is the first thicket of mountain laurels I have seen on any area hike in the Harpers Ferry and South Mountain area. This is the west side of the ridge, the Boonesboro side. At this point, I started to see a variation in the terrain, and the trail started to zigzag a little. I am now 3 miles into the hike and getting closer to the Lamb's Knoll summit. This is the Blue Blaze Trail to the private Bear Spring cabin. Here is White Rock's Overlook. I am now probably just a few tenths of a mile from the summit. I didn't realize it until after the fact, but my feet were just about 1 foot from a gap that goes down about 30 to 40 feet. I only encountered about 1 to 2 people per mile on the way over to this overlook. However, when I got to the overlook, there were 7 people here, and it seems like it's in the middle of nowhere. Now back to the trail. Here are a couple of chestnuts or chestnut coverings. They look like little porcupines. This is the 4.2 mile point. I came to this spot one evening in about 2002, and what looked like an armed military guard told me to keep back, and I did. That is the absolute truth. I don't recall the details, but I may have parked near the Bear Spring cabin and used its Blue Blaze Trail to get up here. Here's a young mountain laurel by itself. Tree frogs love little pools in trees just like this. A run hiker passed me coming southbound and then going northbound. Based on what I figured they did, they ran at minimum a 14.4 mile round trip. I had trouble walking on this rocky trail. I'm in awe over how they were able to run it. Here is some deer fur. I'm not sure if it came from coyote scat or if it was just naturally shed. The top sign explains what the safety zone sign was that I saw earlier at the Crampton Gap shelter. Here is the Rocky Run shelter sign. This is the 6 mile point. There were about 10 people already at the shelter, so I did not get good video of it. Now back to the trail. At the 6.7 mile point, there is a power line easement, and when you're under it, you can hear the arcing sounds of the electricity. These are called ground pine or ground cedar. They are quite amazing to look at because they look like miniature pine trees. They are actually a moss. They are in the power line easement. Right about here, I encountered a family, and I expressed my concern about how long it would take me to get to the parking lot because it was starting to get near sunset time. They were nice enough to offer me a ride over there, but I didn't need one, and I thanked them. This monument is dedicated to the troops from North Carolina who fought here in the Civil War. This is in Maryland. It looks like this part of the trail was originally designed for wagons. It's starting to get dark now. Here is the Dahlgren campground. My car is not far from here. There's the bear pole. Finally, here is the parking lot. It borders the South Mountain Inn. The Washington Monument State Park is across the street from this parking lot. Happy trails and have a safe trip.